What's up everybody? Chris Murray here, back again with another video, and this time I'm going to London. It's true, I'm going to London. It's actually going to be my first time going and I'm super psyched. And I just want to talk to you about why I'm going, how long I'm going to be there, and the process that led up to this event that I get to go to London for something I worked on. So I'm actually going to London for the premiere of the film Shooting Clerks. This is a film I started working on many years ago with some good people in the UK and Scotland and some friends down in Florida. Now, this whole thing is a crazy story, and it's crazy that it got to where it's at. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it, just so you know about a project I worked on, and so you can keep an eye out for it, so that when it comes out, hopefully you'll be able to enjoy it and be like, oh, I know the guy that worked on that. So the film's called Shooting Clerks, and if you ever heard of the film Clerks by Kevin Smith, that's the one. And the good folks at Aldrich Media decided to make a biopic based on the making of Clerks. And the cool thing is, if you check their stuff out, they've already done prior biopics about Kevin Smith's life, and they went over well with Kevin Smith, so this just felt like the logical next step for them. Fast forward in time, or I guess rewind in time, depending where we're at in the story. In present day, we rewind in time in them making those projects fast forward in time. Regardless, doesn't matter. I have a buddy who's a producer named Tommy Avalone, who was based in New Jersey, lives in LA now. He worked on the Ghost Heads documentary. He's doing a Bill Murray documentary right now that he's working on. And one day I saw he liked a page called Shooting Clerks. And I just saw it came up on the feed, it said like. I was like, oh, I love Clerks. Clerks is one of the films that got me into filmmaking. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. Jay and Silent Bob's all part of my childhood. So I grew up loving Clerks. And I checked the page out, and it was just a bunch of filmmakers that were trying to make this biopic on Clerks. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to see it. So I liked the page. That day, believe it or not, they posted on Facebook that they're looking for someone in the New Jersey area to go to the Quick Stop and go to Kevin's home and the area he grew up in, Red Bank and Leonardo, New Jersey, and film some B-roll for them and get some photos and get some templates. And here I find out that they're based out in Scotland. So these guys are this passionate about Kevin Smith and his films, and the distance isn't stopping them from creating. They're still making this product anyways. And it's genius, because then they could just reach out to people locally to get what they need when they can't make it out there. I just so happened to see that post that day, and I responded to it. And I'm like, hey, I'm based in Philly. I'm like right here in New Jersey. I can make that drive up no problem. What do you need? I'd love to be a part of it. And they responded, and I was the guy to do it. I wound up driving up to the Quick Stop, which is crazy because I used to always go up there just to go, because like I said, I was a huge fan of Clerks, and I would go to the Quick Stop and RST Video, which isn't there anymore, but the sign's still there in the window, and I would go visit all those areas just to do it, because I mean, that's what fans do, right? They kind of nerd out. So it was cool that this time I got to go back for a purpose, not just to go buy a Gatorade or whatever. And so I took at the time, my 5D Mark II, and I took some photos that they wanted and some video and sent it all over through the cloud. And then they kind of took my photos and video and kind of reworked it and did some visual effects on it that they're pretty good at. And they made it look just like the old Quick Stop from the 1990s movie Clerks. I mean, it looks incredible. You'll see it when it comes out. And at that moment, I was pretty excited about this documentary. Something just felt right, and it was just wow, we're actually a part of something bigger here. And then some time went by. I went back up, I believe, and got some more B-roll of Kevin Smith's house, the house he grew up in on Jackson Street, and a few more things, and then some more time went by. This was a slow process. You gotta remember that we were doing this out of a passion project. I was in school at the time, going to Temple University for film and business, and our schedules were booked. I mean, they were out there working, and we were just kind of squeezing this in while we could without any pay. No one was getting paid to do this. We had no budget. We were just doing it to do it. And I was psyched on the whole idea, so I just wanted to be a part of it. Fast forward and started to pick up some buzz. They started to get the cast from the original Clerks involved. Dante, Brian O'Halloran is involved, signed on. Marilyn, she signed on, who plays Veronica. Scott, he signed on, who plays the cancer merchant, or I'm sorry, the Chuli's gum rep. who gets everybody to chant cancer merchant at Dante. But Scott signs on, who played the Chuli's gum rep. All these people are signing on. It starts to pick up some buzz, like this thing is happening. At this point, I was just pretty busy with everything, and I just never really had the experience of assembling all this stuff together. So they reached out to someone who also knew Kevin Smith from the past. He lived down in Florida. His name was James. And James got a crew together, and he came up to Florida, and I collaborated with them, and we hit the ground running. We filmed this film. Well, they were already filming it in Scotland, out in the UK. They were already filming this film, but we went to New Jersey to film all the pieces we needed with the original cast of Clerks. I got to meet all these guys and gals, like from the film that I grew up watching. It was amazing. So I did a lot of behind the scenes. I was credited as one of the second unit directors of the film, just because of my involvement on it from early on and kind of assembling in the very beginning. And I did a few more shoots after that. I got to film at the Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash that you could see on the show Comic Book Men. I got to film Walt, Ming, Mike. So it was an amazing experience, to say the least. Time went on, it went into post-production, and I kind of just went on doing my thing, filming, keeping up to date with it. It started to get buzz. Kevin Smith at this point loved the idea, reached out, and he became a producer on the project. Like, it was all an incredible experience. Couldn't even fathom where it got to. Fast forward to some time, and the film had a pretty decent rough draft that I wasn't around to go to, but they had a screening in New Jersey, and who other than Kevin Smith was there to introduce the film. I mean, you can't get, and they screened it in New Jersey. It can't get any cooler than that. This is a passion project of just a bunch of people that came together, dedicated their own free time for no money, and this is what it came. It was a film about a guy, a director that everyone was really passionate about, that grew up with, who saw, acknowledged, and respected the work, and even came and helped promote it. I mean, he would promote it on his social media. Kevin Smith was awesome, and big shout out to Kevin Smith, big shout out to Brian and Scott and Marilyn and everyone else involved in the production, Vinny Pereira, everyone. You guys are all awesome for dedicating your time to come out and do that. And big shout out to Chris Downey and the crew over in Scotland and the UK for coming up with this idea, and a big shout out to James and Mike and Amber and Dan and everyone down in Florida who came up to, like, it's so weird because there's me who's in New Jersey, and I even got some of my friends, Brendan and Connor, on to help shoot some things. It was just, we just got everyone together, we did what we could, and we made it happen. Or fast forward even more, and here we are, going to London, screening at the Prince Charles Theatre, where Kevin Smith has screened some of his films, and Shooting Clerks. We're screening it in London. And London's one of the #1 places I've ever wanted to go. It sounds weird out of all the places in the world, but just something about London. I've traveled all over, but I've never been to the UK. I've never been to London. British heritage has always fascinated me, and it's just always been my #1 place to go to. I actually have a bucket list, which I'll do a whole video on. Kind of a bucket list, more like a vision board, which I'll do a whole video on, and the importance of it and how magical and crazy it is to see every time I pull it out every 6 months and just see, like, oh, I could cross some of these things off. They're kind of happening naturally. And London was it. London was the #1 location on that vision board. And here it is happening. And I'm not going for vacation. I'm going to screen a film that I worked on, which is based on a film that got me into filmmaking. And it was done with just passion, barely any budget, and just a couple of guys from across the world. And that's what's so important, and that's what's so cool. Just keep doing what you're doing. I've never met one person I worked with in this industry that got to where they're at by quitting. The only people I know that work in this industry are the people that are still working in this industry because they never gave up on their dreams and their passion. So thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to talk about where I'm gonna be for the next week. I will be there until the 17th or 18th of January. I leave the 10th. By this time, I'm already there. I'm gonna be filming, I'm taking my red. It's gonna be an awesome experience. I'm gonna have plenty of content for you guys to see when I get back. But until then, I'll have this video. I have another video coming out on Sunday with 5 tips for shooting in the cold. And I'm going to London, I'm stoked. So hopefully that was a little inspiration and motivation for you guys to keep following your dreams, to keep pursuing and keep hustling, because you'll get there. Just don't ever give up. I understand life gets in the way. I understand jobs get in the way. I understand there's rent and all that. And you can tackle these things. You can get the job you need to get to pay the bills. I mean, you have to, otherwise you're gonna end up homeless. And I know Sylvester Stallone has a whole story, there's plenty of those stories, but it's probably better off to not have to get in those situations. But regardless, just don't backburner your passion though. As soon as you start to backburner, you start to pay attention less, it starts to fade out, and eventually you just kill the flame. And I'm telling you, it's not worth it. It's more of a risk to play life safe and end up disappointed in the long run than it is to take the risk to live your dream. So I hope that was enough motivation for you guys. I hope that inspires you to get out there and start creating, and I'll see you guys in the next video.